I've always had an interest in playing rhythm games, but I wouldn't really indulge in them that much since it wasn't my primary genre of games, not to mention that I'm not that good at them to begin with. I've dabbled in some throughout the last couple years like Osu, which I am incompetent at as PC isn't even my primary way of playing, Hatsune Miku Project Sakai, I think I'm okay at, D4DJ, kinda similar story, and I bought Hatsune Miku Project Diva Colorful Tone about a year ago, which I really enjoy but don't play a lot of because my primary console now is my Xbox Series X. I'm sure a lot of you watching have seen YouTube videos throughout the years of people doing insanely difficult plays on rhythm games, and every time I come across one I'm always impressed. But you know what really drags me into rhythm games? It's because you get to play with the music. I mean, what else did you expect? I love listening to music, and playing a game that involves playing to the rhythm, or the actual song itself in a way, is awesome to me. Another kind of rhythm game that always caught my eye was the Guitar Hero and Rock Band games. Playing music with controls that somewhat resemble playing an actual instrument is a pretty cool idea, and I unfortunately was made aware of this long after the boom of those kinds of games. You wanna know how I gained an interest in those games? Well, of course it's because that gosh dang S.O.M.P video.
He's in love with who I am.
Wait!
Back in high school, I used to jerk him with my hands.
Wait! And over the years, I've seen numerous Clone Hero videos, which look pretty fun, but one, I don't have a PC, just a really, really terrible laptop, and I don't have a guitar controller. So imagine my surprise all these years later in 2023 when there were leaks going around that a Guitar Hero-like game would be coming to Fortnite, developed by Harmonix, the company that made Rock Band, which Epic acquired 2 years before. I was really excited for it to come out, especially because it would actually be accessible to me. And on December 2nd, 2023, the Big Bang Fortnite event was shown off. I missed the event, but along with showcasing the new LEGO Fortnite and Rocket Racing game modes, there it was. The 4-lane highway. Notes coming down, a streak counter which still actually isn't in the game, and it admittedly looked pretty primitive in comparison to the final game, but it was there. And on December 9th, Fortnite Festival Season 1 finally released. When Festival first came out, I played a good amount with my friends. I still remember a lot of the OG songs like Mr. Brightside, Bad Guy, and Bad Romance. Being a completely new player to these kinds of games, I naturally started on easy, but I ended up playing between medium and hard depending on how high the song rating was. I still remember that Bad Guy by Billie Eilish on lead was one of the hardest charts for me on hard, even though it was only a 2 out of 7 difficulty. Even though I wasn't very good at playing at first, I still had a lot of fun playing notes on a highway, trying not to break combo and beating my friends' scores. My one big issue, however, was that I could not for the life of me figure out how these lift notes worked. I read online that they could either be pressed or lifted on, but I still wasn't able to wrap my head around the concept. I didn't play every day after the first week, but the song selection was fine enough to keep me coming back maybe once or twice a week. Even in its beginnings, I believe that Fortnite Festival's biggest strong suit was the fact that it's a completely free game, and you get access to numerous songs daily for free even if you decide not to buy any. You didn't need to buy anything, especially as a starting player, which definitely helps in getting more people hooked onto the game. Speaking of buying, the festival pass was 1800 V-Bucks, and I'll admit that's a bit too much for my liking, along with me not really being into much of the songs that were featured in the premium pass at first. But even so, it is a good deal if we're strictly going off by how much every individual item would be, so with the total amount of rewards, they justify the 1800 cost. In addition, jam tracks from the item shop costed about 500 V-Bucks or $5 USD, and that is significantly more than the $199 for Rock Band DLC. But Fortnite Festival had the added benefit of sharing your own songs with others, so as long as you were in a party with them or in a fill lobby, theoretically you could play any song for free at any given point if you look hard enough, or just wait until the song would come onto the daily rotation. Another added feature of the jam tracks was that you could use the jam loops for every instrument in a song and play them outside of Festival in pretty much any game mode. Hey, I just met you, and this is crazy, but
dude, that song sucks ass.
While I didn't use this feature that much initially because I didn't own many actual licensed music or jam tracks in general, I do think it's a pretty nifty gimmick that's pretty fun to mess around with, especially with friends. With how big the initial set list was for Festival Season 1 and how diverse it is, I think a lot of people, myself included, were hoping that the jam track selection would only get bigger and better, and seeing as how many songs Rock Band 4 had, surely this meant that a lot of those songs could also get ported over, and of course much more newer songs that weren't already in Guitar Hero or Rock Band games. And as time went on, more and more songs got added, and every season kept making the game better and better, for the most part. I got better at Festival, finally playing Extreme Difficulty in Season 3, and I even bought the Festival Pass for most of the seasons going forward. So many of my favorite songs and artists have been added, and all of this would not have been possible if it weren't for Fortnite. Fortnite Festival is basically my first Guitar Hero / Rock Band game, and that's why I love it so much. Learning how to play the highway and getting better and better as time goes on feels like I'm actually getting good at these kinds of games. Now sure, I'm not using a guitar controller, but people back then were playing Guitar Hero with DualShocks, so I guess it's not too dissimilar from that. I feel like Festival is the first rhythm game that I'm actually quite decent at, and the amount of time that I've spent playing is in no small part due to the fact that the game is completely free and in Fortnite. Not only can I play 30 licensed songs for free on the daily rotation, but I get to watch the skins that I've bought over the course of 7 years play some instruments. Festival being free is also probably what allowed it to have such a large reach. Now you could argue that Clone Hero and Yarg exist, but the fact of the matter is that there's a ton of people who don't know about those games, or that they don't have a laptop or PC to run them on, or that they wouldn't have even been exposed to these kind of games if it weren't for Fortnite. Festival is also designed for regular controllers, which makes it much more accessible than custom maps that you'd find on Clone Hero and Yarg. Sometimes the charts are even harder on the regular controller binds than Pro Lead / Bass. Look at Magical Cure Love Shot on Lead. My first attempt is still the best that I've ever done, and I can't even hit half of this part anymore. My overdrives are the only thing that pushes me to 5 stars, but it proves that there is still as much of a challenge than on Pro controllers, and I think that's great. Something that's really cool too is that the openness of Festival and Fortnite as a whole allows for some of my favorite songs of every kind of genre to be playable because it's not rock band. If you told me in 2018 that Juice WRLD, The Weeknd, and Hatsune Miku would all be in Fortnite and have playable songs and skins, I'd think that you were insane. But here we are in 2025. Festival has even gotten me to expand my music taste and listen to songs that I otherwise would have never thought of listening to. When the Metallica season was being teased, I was hyped for the harder charts, but at the same time I wasn't so much of a fan of metal outside of baby metal. Fortnite, please give me chocolate. You had it playing in the Nitro Dome. But after listening to all their songs in Fortnite, I think they're pretty cool, and I love the solos. I can even say that Fade to Black is my favorite Metallica song. I've never listened to Karol G before Season 5, but her songs were pretty cool. For the few that there were. We'll get to that. Fat Lip? A song about doing what you want with hard-hitting raps and riffs? I'll eat that crap every day. That, sounded better in my head. There are virtually endless possibilities for anyone's favorite song or genre to be put in Festival. So, Harmonix, please add All Time Low. You guys still have the Rock Band 4 DLC on sale. I see it on the Microsoft Store. What's stopping you from giving me Dear Maria Count Me In? Maybe even Hoshimachi Suisei? I got the perfect tweet for y'all. Y'all can have this for free. Hatsune Miku isn't the only blue virtual singer in the world. Too much of a reach? Yeah, I thought so. Anyways, not all that glitters is gold though. I've used that line 2 videos in a row now, how far can we keep going? Fortnite Festival has a handful of issues, and while a lot of these weren't much of a problem for me starting out, they have begun to wear on me as I've progressed so much and been playing since the launch of the game. But for this video, I'm only going to talk about a few problems that I personally have found issue with, so there may very well be a ton of stuff that I don't mention. I can go on and on about how terrible the game engine used to be or drum charts, but I'm pretty sure there are many people out there who have already talked about those things. First of all, please do not add these long ass lift notes in future charts. They're not so prevalent anymore, and you'll see that a lot of really old charts use them, but like, wow, it sucks to miss a lift note because for whatever reason they want you to hold it down for like a whole second when it definitely could have been a regular note. I've occasionally seen longer lift notes pop up every once in a while in recent time, but I think Season 7 is in the clear so far, so good job Harmonix devs. This isn't so much of a dev problem, but it's just a player-based problem. I need to make a PSA about this because this stuff happens so often that it's getting infuriating. If we are queued with each other in a fill lobby, please pick a song. Just leave after all the ones that you like are done. I've been in lobbies where it's a full 4 players and we only play 2 songs. What the heck, y'all? And the infuriating thing is, a good percentage of the time, the people who haven't picked songs aren't AFK, so they're just not picking songs for what? And if your argument is, just play solo, well, I like to play with fill lobbies, because 1, I don't own every jam track, and 2, I like playing with other people. It kind of makes me competitive in a way, and it's cool to see other people pull off a really hard FC, even if you aren't actually able to see them play. My biggest issue with Fortnite Festival currently, however, is that the icon artist is kind of misleading. What I mean is that ever since Season 5, we haven't gotten as many songs for icon artists as we did before then, when the season is supposedly centered around them and their genre of music. I'm not asking for Metallica levels amount of songs, but we're not even reaching above 5 songs per artist recently. Hey, I wrote this script a few weeks ago, and as of right now, Hatsune Miku currently has 6 songs, so, there you go, I'm wrong. Now perhaps there are licensing struggles that the developers cannot disclose, and I'm sure that there's a lot of hurdles that the Harmonix or Epic team has to go through to get these artists on board. It just feels frustrating though that the artist who's at the forefront of the season, the one who's advertised the most to hype up the incoming season, doesn't have much of a presence in their own season. Another thing that isn't so much of a problem now that's kind of related is the genres in relation to the festival icon. Now maybe I'm delusional, but when I see an icon artist for a new season of Festival, it kind of implies to me that we'll also get a lot of music from their genres or surrounding genres. For example, obviously Metallica was our first big contrast in genre in relation to the festival icons, and you would expect a lot of metal, and metal we did get, along with a lot of rock and alternative songs. So when Karol G was announced for Festival Season 5, I was thinking that this could be pretty big. I'm not really into Latin music, but having a whole wave of Latin pop songs could change that, or better yet, give us some really cool vocal charts. But instead, we only got 5 Karol G songs, and no other Latin/Spanish songs throughout the season. Snoop Dogg didn't have that many songs either, but he had a feature and they had Nate Dogg too, I guess. That season was definitely a step up though because there was a plethora of hip-hop/rap songs in the first half. Hatsune Miku. I know we were all pissed about not getting any new songs for nearly 2 months, but as of March 11th, we finally have some new songs announced. Melt and Decade. It's only 2 songs, which only brings up the total of Miku songs to 6, and it's still not great, but it's a sign of hope for the rest of the season. I'm really hoping for 9 songs in total, that would be awesome. I know that specifically for Vocaloid, it's much more complicated to get Miku songs because there's not just one label that you can go to, it's a bunch of different producers using a voice bank. I was actually thinking that it might have been an easier shot for Harmonix or Epic to get some songs that are like Daisy 2.0 that have artists featuring Miku, like Ray by Bump of Chicken and Why Do I by Set It Off. Maybe we could see those one day, but of course it would be great to have more proper Vocaloid songs. Also, I'm willing to bet that most of these charts are probably worked on months in advance, and by the time that we get the new season, most if not all of the songs for the season are already set. So even though my complaining won't do much, it's still frustrating, you know? If I see the end of Hatsune Miku on the final set list of the season, then I will officially declare Season 7 as the best Fortnite Festival season in history. Now I know that I just ragged on Festival a bunch, but I think that just goes to show how much I care about the game. And not to put on the pressure, but there's a possibility of a new Guitar Hero game coming out now that Activision has acknowledged it with the weird AI generated ad and survey that they put out. So selfishly, here are a few things that I'd like to see in Festival, mainly content-wise. Practice mode. I feel like that should just be a standard in any rhythm game to be honest, or at least some sort of no death mode that just wouldn't count towards an actual score.
I feel like practice mode is a way of cheating. You play to play the game, not to FC everything, and you could still FC by practicing the song all over again. Practice mode just takes away the momentum and the charm. It may be frustrating, but
I don't think I have to explain why a practice mode would be beneficial to the entire player base, so let's move on. I think some customization for Festival would be cool down the line. Even just simple things like letting players change the colors of the notes and overdrives, buttons, or even the highway. I know that you can customize your highways in Clone Hero and Yarg, but that's not the point. This isn't Clone Hero or Yarg. When No Social Media Joe is shredding on Festival, he's not gonna know about those. Probably. Speaking of highways, give us a setting that lets us see other online players' highways on the same screen as us. You already have it for local multiplayer, so I feel like it wouldn't be that hard to implement for online play, but I'm not a game developer, so I don't know. Wouldn't it be cool as a hardcore player or newbie to see someone else pull off a really hard solo? Just seeing all those notes be tapped like crazy? I know I'd like to see it. And sure, maybe not everyone is comfortable with other people seeing how they play, so I think that they could also add a let other players see you play option, which just solves that problem easily. I think being able to play more than one jam track if you're in a solo lobby or by yourself would be cool, because what if I wanted to make my own mixes but I don't have anyone to play with? Or maybe I'm just scared of jam stage. Maybe there could even be a toggle that allows other players to join in on your jam sessions or not. Maybe even a fuser game mode, huh guys? And finally, this one isn't for Harmonix or Epic, but Eminem. Yeah, that's right. I'm calling out Slim Shady himself. What's the deal, man? Your biggest fans want your songs on the 5-lane highway. You had the 4-lane highway. Come on, I know you want to see Rap God and Godzilla charted on vocals. I know you do. Your move, Em. Fortnite Festival is so great just for the community in general. It's brought in a whole new wave of players who have now been exposed to these kinds of games, and it's also kind of revived the scene, whether you think so or not. PDP launched their Riffmaster controller back in April 2024, and it was the first official guitar controller made for a specific game in about 8 years. And now Cracked is coming out with their new Les Paul controller in June. And like I said before, Activision has finally acknowledged Guitar Hero after how many years? It's so great to see this scene get revitalized, even as someone who wasn't really into the scene before I started playing Fortnite Festival. So sure, we might not get a career mode, that overdrive button is still probably gonna mess you up, and it's gonna feel pretty dry at times, but to me, this game is still pretty freaking awesome. 5 years from now, when we maybe have Rock Band 5 and Guitar Hero 6, I'll look back nostalgically at Fortnite Festival for being my first game. Maybe I'll see you again, and take care.